Of all the things you could pull, Kubo, this chapter was absolutely, positively, without a doubt, my voice got squeaky again, pure awesomeness. I really had a loss here. This chapter, I mean, it was great. It was genuinely great. It pretty much called every single thing that I wanted to happen in this chapter particularly. I mean, like, going from last chapter when I was talking about, you know, all the stuff I want to happen in this chapter, like, maybe we want to reveal, like, how, like, what the names of some of the Sternritters are, and how, like, that hierarchy works, and maybe there's more of them, and who's gonna fight who. All that happens. So, yeah, wow, I need to, just, you know what, just hold on a second, just hold on 1 minute here. Okay, yeah, so, you know, really quick, I'm not wearing a suit. This means I'm serious, okay? I was, if you're thinking I was going to do some kind of joke with it or something, like I was going to be like, this is the best chapter in the world. No, I'm not going to do that. Let me just, you know, I know I bash Kubo a lot. I know that, you know, a lot of stuff I say may be taken the wrong way sometimes, and I joke around a lot, but this is me serious, okay? This chapter was really great. Okay, I'm just throwing that out now. Okay, so we all good on understanding on this now. Okay, I'm gonna put the suit back on. I'm gonna do the thing, but you know, just to let you know, this is for reals. Okay, cool. Okay, so right, intro. I'm excited. Let's do this. Tekking101 here to review Bleach Chapter 495. Gonna hit 500 soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do for 500. Maybe I'll make a cake. Yeah, that'll be fun. Like a big giant cake, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so the chapter kind of starts with like another pseudo color page. It's more like a cover, but it's of the Quincy King, and it looks pretty badass. So we open in the Sternritter where Rose is, and he's receiving the report. I don't know if it's like over that what's that called? That keto announcement system they have, Tente Kura or something. But he's being notified of the deaths, and he also is told that Kira's Ryatsu has disappeared, and of course he's not too pleased about that. Now, before I continue, let me just have a little side note here, really quick. Last chapter, when Izuru supposedly died, I mean, there's a lot of debate over that, if he died or if he's not, or, you know, his Ryatsu's disappeared. If nothing else, he's in mortal danger. His wound is nothing to, you know, cry about. Like, oh, just let mommy kiss it, it'll be better. No, he lost the majority of his torso. But the thing was, when that really happened in the last chapter, I mean, I mentioned it. I didn't just pass it off as nothing, but I didn't really show as much, you know, care, like I wasn't really that concerned about it. I was just like, oh, he got hurt, moving on, you know, he might die, let's continue. But you know, and I got a lot of mail over that, like oh, how dare you should have mentioned it more. I mean, he's one of the most popular characters in Bleach, and sure enough, I think he's like in the top 10 or top 15. He's really up there. And the reason I didn't really talk about him that much is because honestly, Izuru, he's not really one of my favorite characters. He's really not. So, I mean, he's cool and everything. I mean, when I like his battles, when he was fighting Alvarima Redder, that was pretty cool. When he revealed his Shikai to Matsumoto, that was pretty sweet and badass. But honestly, I just never really enjoyed his character as much as I found everyone else. So, when I saw him get hurt, I was just like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks. He could die. I didn't really feel as much emotion, but apparently, yeah, the fans really enjoy Izuru, so hope he pulls through then. I don't know. Moving on. Get the title of the chapter, which is Bleeding Guitar Blues, and then we get a reveal of a new Sternritter who is facing down Rose. And yeah, this guy's appearance is punkish, freakish. I don't know. He has goggles, and his hair is kind of like in that five-pointed, you know, mohawk style thing like Tozen had like 100 years ago, except it's a little bit more, you know, drastic than Tozen's with the goggles. He reminds me a lot of him, just with the goggles and then like the crazy hairstyle, but, you know, even Tozen wasn't that weird back then. and his teeth are also like patterned white and black. But anyway, his name is Sternritter U, which I'll get to the whole alphabet thing later, and his name is Naja-Koop. Huh. Yeah. So a running theme in this chapter that we're going to be revealed is, while we get some of the Sternritter's names, we also get kind of, I guess, their ranks maybe, or just like their title. Like, you know how the Goatee 13 and the Espada were given ranks by numbers? Yeah, these guys are given ranks by letters. So yeah, the Vandenreich hierarchy is kind of like Sesame Street, except with more blood and with Nazi overtones. Is that they're all based off of letters of the alphabet, which would mean there's 26 of them. And considering the fact that we've seen, 7 in the last chapter, and we also get we're introduced to a lot more than I think about 5 more new ones in this chapter. It's kind of hard to tell because some of them are obscured, but we get a look at like more new ones in this chapter, so it might be indicating of that. I'm pretty sure it's the alphabet. And the other possibility I was considering, it's definitely probably not this. I was just thinking about that because the title was Bleeding Guitar Blues, and I was thinking music and notes in music, like A, E notes, stuff like that. I was considering it, but I don't think there's a U note, so I'm just going to go with the alphabet. That's kind of stupid, but, the chapter title kind of maybe twisted that around a bit. But yeah, it's the alphabet. I'm never... So yeah, I'm not going to be able to say his name with a straight face from now on. Yeah, anyway, he also notices that Rose is kind of distracted because Izuru has fallen, and he states that the Sternritter that Izuru faced was most likely Busby. So we follow this up and we actually get a little bit of insight into Rose's personality when it involved Izuru, and state that he really did care for him a great deal, and that whenever he was around him he could write notes and he could write music very easily. So yeah, that's kind of cool that we got a little like a look into Rose's personality, because he's probably one of my favorite Vizards, if I have to say, just because when he was first introduced he just was kind of like, him and Love just kind of stood in the background. He didn't really do much, and like his fight against what was it, Stark, when he revealed his Sheik, I really enjoyed that a great deal, just because it showed a guy in the background kind of coming forth and making being a main character. So I really like Rose. But a thing I have to kind of mention when we see this scene, that like Rose actually does care for Izuru and everything. Remember the last episode of Bleach, like the episode where Ginjo dies and everything, like the anime's apparent end? At the end, it was showing, while the credits were rolling, we got to look in the Seirete and what all the Shinigami were doing, except, this was before the manga came out with all the new appearances of the vice captains, so they'd all look the same as they always did. But there was that scene with Izuru drinking with, I think, Iba and Shuhei, and he was having like a little thought bubble appear that like he rejected Rose, that like he didn't like him that much, and that's why he was drinking. Now, that's not canon really, because we don't really see Izuru's real thoughts about him, but I just find it a little bit odd that, apparently in the anime anyway, Izuru didn't like Rose that much, and flip side, we see Rose's actual emotions toward him. But so, no, okay, there's no way I'm saying that every single time he's on screen. Sternritter U makes the typical, villain badass response that you're gonna die in 5 minutes, and to Rose looking badass, and their fight begins off screen. Now, I was gonna say that this fight is like a typical shonen fight where, how this happens a lot, where, we have one character like polar opposites, like one character's obsessed with art and beauty, and the other one's just like, there is no art in battle, you just hit shit, stuff like that, because that's happened in plenty of manga, Naruto, for example. But I don't really know if it's going to go into that, scene, because we know that Rose will at times during battle just like take time out just to do something like artistic. Like when he was fighting against Stark and he got bashed into the rubble, he takes his time slowly emerging from the rubble just to look, because it's more beautiful that way. I don't know. But in this panel, he just looks pretty, pissed that Izuru could possibly be dead, so I don't think he's going to be doing any of that. I think he's like pretty serious here. So we cut over to another part of the Seirete where we see Sternritter F as Note. And this is one I'm probably just going to keep calling the ring chick Quincy, because that's what she looks like to me. But anyway, her ability is to spawn thorns that can, like, anyone that even gets close to her gets, stabbed and killed by these thorns. And another interesting thing to note is that the powers, maybe it's like somewhat hypnotic, because all the Shinigami that get stabbed, all the ones that are around her, like, they get really freaked out by it. Like, it's like, why do they have to scream like that? And they all started running away, like, they like abandoning their post and running away. Now, granted, there's never been, like, a large-scale war in the Soul Society before, and these, soldiers have probably never seen the front lines, but they're still Shinigami. They've probably all fought Hollows at some point. They've all, had experiences with, fighting an enemy. So it's just hard to believe that when they see their comrades fall, they would just like abandon their post and run away. Maybe it's just the case for war, but maybe, you know, Kubo's trying to allude to the fact that maybe her powers are somewhat hypnotic. Maybe they can affect your mind or something to the weak-willed. But that's neither here nor there, because then Renji appears with his Zanpakuto released, ready to kick some ass. Moving on, we get Bambitia Basturbine, or Bambita Basturbine. I wanted to see like Bambino or something, because that's Spanish for, like, I think a little child or something, even though the Sternritters are German. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. So, yeah, she's the cute little girl, Quincy, from the last chapter. Isn't she so adorable as she carves them up? And she even cut that one guy in half. That's freaking gruesome, man. But yeah, so Sajin Komamura appears in front of her. And I'm really actually, this is like one of the points in the chapter that I'm really happy Kubo did this. This is like the perfect matchup, because when you look at the Vandenreich, it's like, which one of these guys, you know, stands out from the other? And of course you're going to pick the little girl that's just apparently there with the cute little, you know, she has like the heart belt buckle, and she's just so out of place. And then when you look at the Goatee 13, you're like, which one sticks out most among these people? And okay, maybe Mayuri, maybe you want to say Mayuri, but then again, the 7-foot fox guy is kind of a contender there too. So kind of like a battle of the outcasts here, like the outliers of each group. And they actually do mention that. You know, it's like, how can even a little girl is in this rebel army, so even a doggy can be captain. It's kind of comparing to that, and just like little things like that I really enjoy. So in the next few pages, there's no dialogue at all. It's just showing which Shinigami are fighting which Sternritters, and I'm just really happy that just Kubo did this, because we get about maybe 6 or 7 matchups here in this chapter alone, and it's just really cool because we have some, you know, basis for later. I just really hope he does this well, because last time we had like a matchup against the Shinigami and like an invading force, it was the fake Karakura Town arc, which, you know, the pacing of that was just, you know, not that great, and it took, you know, so long just to get to the point where the final fight. It took like that arc took like 2 to 3 years to finish. So, you know, Kubo, if you're gonna take 2, man, take 2. You can do this. You made a few mistakes the first time with pacing, but I trust you, man. Final arc, you can do this. But yeah, so anyway, the matchups are as follows. Shuhei is versing against Giant Hulk Quincy. Shunsui is fighting against Mustache Quincy. I think it might be the old guy I saw in the last chapter we saw. He's partially obscured. Soifone versus Masked Quincy. Ukitaki versus the, can't really come up with a clever nickname for this guy because I can only see the back of his head, Quincy. And Toshiro versus the Cloak Quincy from the last chapter. So, final slate of the chapter, we cut over to Renji fighting the chick from the ring, Quincy, and he states that the moment he blocks, something faint appears on his hand. Like, whoa, whoa. He?
That thing's a guy?!
Yeah, seriously. I've seen characters that look more feminine than that turn out to be males, but, you know, I mean, really, he just has long hair, so it's really no indication like he's automatically female just because he has long hair. But, you know, he just looks like the chick from the ring with, like, the long hair and, like, the scrawny, and the fact that she causes immense pain onto people, and she's, like, lean. I just figured female, but whatever. Maybe it's a translation error, but probably not. I'm usually wrong on these things. Moving on, it's shown that, you know, even if you managed to hit her, because every other Shinigami that appeared close to her just got impaled right away, but Renji has been managing to hit her, but something faint appears on her hand, like a mark or something, so she's able to, like, negate the damage, or just, you know, stop it altogether, or something like that. So he's trying to figure out a way to stop her when Luchador Quincy appears from behind him and is about to smash him into the ground, but he gets stopped by Byakuya, who appears on the front lines as well. And maybe the possibility, I don't know, really cool tag battle between these two, Renji and Byakuya, because these two have been shown to be, you know, enemies at one point. Maybe it's like time to come full circle and actually fight together. That'd be pretty sweet. But regardless, that's the end of the chapter. Like I said, just really brilliant how it works. I'm really happy about this. Like the setups for everything. Like the promise at this point is really high. Like my expectations for the next few chapters are really good. How I expect it to work, as with the pacing, I'm not really sure which way is the best. There's the one way you can do it where you can just show each individual battle at a time, and then there's another way where you can actually show like one chapter takes up a majority of the battle, but you also see little snippets of other battles too. Maybe that's a good way to do it. It's kind of certainly having this many fights going on at once is not going to be an easy feat to accomplish, to like you know, express how it works, how each person is fighting, their respective opponent and trying to get the time scale down. But, I have faith that this could work. I'm going to give Kubo the benefit of the doubt here and go, like, he can try something else, because the fact is, I honestly don't think this arc is going to last that long. Not to say it's going to end anytime soon, but I don't think it's going to last as long as the Fate Karakura-town arc did, or anything like that. I don't think it's going to last, like, several years. Like, my personal opinion, maybe a year or a year and a half, because, if it drags on for too long, then it might be just considered like, well, it's the final arc, but it's been going on for like 3 years, so what's the point? I don't think he's going to do that. But, as for next chapter, I don't really know whose fight we're going to show next. I would say Renji Byakuya Attack team fight, because that'd be badass. Maybe get a look at Renji's new Bankai, because Kubo said it was different. He said that his Bankai was modified. It looked very different. But as for that, let me just talk a little bit about the alphabet ranking system between the Quincy. It's probably apparent that the Quincy leader of the Stern, I don't know if it's going to be the king itself or maybe just the leader of the Sternritters himself, is going to be at either A or Z, because that's one end of the end. I would say A, but that's just me. I don't know if it's like some ranking system, like it goes like A is the strongest, B is the second strongest, or maybe reversed order, Z is the strongest. I'm not sure. But I do know that if we start getting all the names together, it might get a little confusing. So there's a grid, and magic snap of the fingers there, and we have that filled in as far as we know. I left Busby kind of like up to debate, because it's not really like the names of the Sternritters themselves don't really reflect their rank at all. Because if you look at Shananana, his name or whatever, you would look at that and you would say, oh, he's Sternritter N. If you're gonna put any letter on it, it's gonna be N. But no, he's U. Same thing with Bambita. She's E, really. So that doesn't really appear. So I doubt Busby is actually B. But I just threw that in there just because, it's a name that got thrown out. But with all the other Sternritters, we don't know the names yet. So, yeah, I'm really impressed by this chapter. Not much to really say. So, yeah, everyone, thanks for watching my video. Tekking101 signing out.